Alright, yo, what's up? Oogity boogity, my name is Patrouski, and today we're doing loot from 1 hour of Wailmer in PokeMMO to see how much Pokeyen we can make. Now, thankfully, Wailmer is a pretty easy farm. We can actually just sit here in Slateport City in Hoenn, Super Rod right here in the water within the city, and you'll encounter Wailmer 100% of the time. Like so. Pretty easy encounters, and then from here it should be pretty easy to go ahead and actually spore first and then false wipe, and I'll explain why. You see, these Wailmers actually have two different moves which will make them invulnerable and make the battle a lot slower if you false wipe first. So let's go ahead and see if I can catch that on camera. Essentially, these Wailmers at this level, yes, there's one, they have bounce and dive. So now that on the second turn they've bounced the first turn, I now can't spore them. So now it's going to take me 3 turns to catch them. Gonna have to just stall and waste a turn as opposed to 2. So this is one of the few Pokemon that is actually better to spore first and then false swipe in Pokeball after, and it should be a pretty safe catch after that. Now you may be wondering to yourself, why catch Wailmers? Why would they even be profitable? And it's not as simple as, oh, just because they're in a good egg group and such. Wailmers are a special case. They are one of the main egg breeders on getting the egg move Water Spout over to Blastoise, which is really important for gym reruns. Water Spout Blastoises are used to make a ton of Pokeyen, some of the most Pokeyen in PokeMMO, so it's a really big deal to have some Water Spout Blastoises. Specifically, you need male Wailmers and then breeding those with Water Spout over onto female Remoraid's, making sure those Remoraid's come out as males, and then breed the Water Spout Remoraid over onto the Blastoise. Sort of a chain breed. It's really annoying. It can be a huge pain to do, but sometimes if you want to build up IVs and carry over IVs over onto the Squirtle or Blastoise, you have to have some IVs on them, and it obviously has to be a decent IV or decent natured Wailmer. Especially if it's male, it's going to make more money here. So I'm really curious to see how much Pokeyen can be made. To give a little bit of a price check or a price mark, I sold a 1x31 special attack Wailmer the other day for 40k, which was pretty insane. What's up, Hoenn Hero, by the way? Alright, but I'm going to go ahead and get my timer set, spend 1 hour catching these guys, and I will see you after. Peace. Alright, here we are after catching Wailmer for 1 hour. We ended up with around 50 Wailmers, which is pretty good efficiency if I do say so myself. Now, I'm extremely happy with this amount of Wailmers. I really think there's some really high potential for profits, but still not sure. I'm going to go ahead and get sorting. Alright, I know this box looks kind of crazy, but there's some pretty interesting sorting stuff going on. So first things first, these top 2 first rows are just male-only Wailmers, but it's important with no stats or anything. It's really important to point out, male Wailmers right now have a base price of like 4,800 Pokeyen. It's kind of insane. This is really, really good, right? 4,800 for a 100%, and one of them's already sold from a previous thing. 4,800, that's crazy. That's going to be a ton of profit right there. Just nice base value. Females should also go for around 2k, which is nice. And then here, these two are noted. Here, I can actually highlight them for you guys. These two are noted, and then this bottom row is all the 1x31. So we caught, what, 50 Wailmers, and 10 of them were 1x31s, which ends up being around 1 out of 5. That's actually slightly lucky. On average, you'll get a 1x31 around 1 in 6 Pokemon. So overall, just a really good hour, and I'm really excited for this. I'm going to go ahead and just start selling off all the bulk Wailmers, and I'll get the price check calculator up alongside it. Okay, first things first, I'm selling off all 18 male Wailmers for 4,800 Pokeyen a piece. That's going to put us at a whopping 86,400 revenue. Now, I'm going to calculate our revenue with everything first, then we'll deduct all the costs and get our profit at the end. I'm going to go ahead and start listing things, though. Okay, I listed all the males, now onto the females. I believe they're around 2k a piece, but let's just go ahead and double check. Now, I'm glad I double checked because honestly, they're probably around 3k a piece. These haven't sold, I will say. These haven't sold for 1 day, and I have a couple to list. I have an option. I could either sell them for like 2k, like anywhere between like 2 to 3,500. I think I'm going to go for I might just do 2k, honestly. It's really tough though. So I want them to realistically sell. Some of these might not sell, but there's so few listings. Honestly, you know what? I'm going to go for 3k. I'm going to do 2,999 as the listing. So 20 of those for 3k a piece is going to be an obvious plus 60k to our price check. Now, this is still revenue. There's going to be a ton of listing fees to chop off of this at the end. So don't let this number fool you too much at the moment. We're probably sitting at around 100k profit, but this is right now at 146k revenue. Alright, but let's get to listing. If you don't know, I pretty much just copy and paste like this. A great way to do it is actually to drag your your GTL over to the right side over there, have your PC to the left side over here. You kind of actually want to swap them back and forth. So if I'm listing from the left side, I could have GTL on the right, and then vice versa. If I'm listing from the right side of the PC, I can show you guys some just flip-flop like this. Kind of do this is a sort of a little bit of a strategy that I figured out after listing so many Pokemon on the GTL. Alright, now on to our 1x31s and noted Wailmers, and I want to surgically price check these things. These things can have really nice value, but they might take a bit to sell, but they're in really high demand, so it kind of depends on the stats and everything. I want to really carefully price check these because these can go for a lot more Pokeyen than you would expect, and you kind of lose out on profit if you really don't check things carefully. Like this guy is modest, just being like 20 plus in these three stats. I want to make sure I'm really careful and check that. So I'm going to start surgically taking my time, going slow on this batch of Pokemon and checking things thoroughly. Now look at this. Look at this price check. Male, modest, Wailmer, no IVs. I didn't even input the IVs in the cheapest one. It's almost for like a day or two as well. So I haven't even listed that long. Look at this. 28k for the cheapest modest Wailmer. That's insane. This is going to make big money, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to list this guy. I probably would go like 35k on it. If I really want to squeeze out every inch, I feel like I could go 35 to 40k on this guy. But part of me wants to just go 27k. Nah, you know what? I think this could be one of my biggest price checks, like one of my biggest loot from hours yet. Let's go ahead and just squeeze out like actually every inch on this. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go for, probably go 35 or 40k here. The question is which one. Like at this point, that one's 55k. Honestly, I'm cool with going, let's do 35. I think 35 is reasonable. It'll sell for that. You don't want to go too high because then it won't sell. 35k though, let's go ahead and add that to the calculator. I think this could be one of my biggest revenue per hours yet. So I want to try to squeeze every inch out and try to hit that new record or something. This next one is bold. I don't know if it'll sell as well. You don't really want bold on that water spout Blastoise, but I mean, it's nice nature for the IVs. This one may be a little more questionable. Yeah, this one's a tough one. All of these have been listed for a super long time. I'm just checking by IVs, not even by the nature. I'm probably going to list this one. Part of me wants to list this just for base price. I either like 10k on it or just base price of Wailmer. I think I'm going to try for 10k. I think it's reasonable if someone's looking for some sort of like decent. You can still breed water spout over onto the Blastoise and make it like a shell smasher for PvP or something. Has a little more stats. Could go, I don't know. You could do something with this. I'm going to go 10k on it. I think that's a little, it's reasonable. Obviously the next best one was 17k, but they haven't sold for a while. So we'll go 10k there, add that onto the price check calculator, putting us at, wrong amount, plus 9k to even it out, putting us at 191k revenue so far. Okay, but those were the noted price checks. Those were the toughest ones. Let's go ahead and look at the 1x31s now. And once again, I want to repeat, if some of these price checks may seem a little high to you, I'm willing to let these Pokemon sit for a long time. And this is a Pokemon that is in really high demand all the time and not really in high enough supply. And that's why prices are what they are. So this is just going to be a base 1x31 special attack Wailmer though. No gender selected or anything. Alright, I did go ahead and add the 20 plus speed since I think that is going to be relevant. Most people are going to be looking for that 31 special attack plus 20 plus speed. You don't need 31 speed on the Blastoise, but 20 plus is fine. So I think it's worth throwing. It only brings up the price a little bit, so it brings me to around 21k. I'm just going to price right under this at 20,998. It should be a pretty fair sell. So I'm going to go ahead and list this like so. Going to go ahead and add plus 21k over on the price check to keep things clean, putting us at 212k revenue so far. Alright, now this one is just 31 special defense, female Wailmer. This is where we start rocking the actual egg group price checks because that's what people want to buy them for. You really got to understand, like people aren't looking for 31 special defense to put on their water spout Blastoise. People don't care about that, right? So you really got to understand why people want to buy things and list them based on that price. So this Wailmer is only going to be plus 3k, which is essentially the base price of female Wailmer. So go ahead and add that over to the calculator. A lot of these might just go for that similar base price for the most part. Now, HP might be one that people care about because it's probably the third stat that people care about beyond special attack and speed. And honestly, there's such a big difference. I'm going to go ahead and list this thing for 10k. This one might need a relisting. I'm not sure if this will sell, but it's just so much more compared to like the 3k I would list this for if I listed it for egg group price. So maybe we'll take an extra k or two off for at the deductions at the end, but that's too much. For 10k, it's just too nice. Some of this stuff is already selling and going through, which is nice. This Wailmer is a pretty quick 5k price check. Just gonna go ahead and list it up for that. It's got a 31 defense. It's 25 plus in the other defenses. Just a nice all-around breeder. Pretty simple stuff. Gonna go ahead and list that for 5k. Nothing too complicated there. Now let's go ahead and move on. We have how many Wailmers left? Around 6, 2 females, and then 4 males, which are gonna bring in most of the profit on this kind of catch. Alright, another 1x31 HP Wailmer. Once again, going to list this for 10k, the same price as the other. So we'll add 10k over on the calculator and go ahead and list this bad boy. Alright, here he is being sold off. Let's go ahead and check the last female price check. This one's pretty good though, if I remember correctly. Yeah, this one's got 31 speed and a bunch of other stats going on. There'll be a little bit more of a surgical price check. I got to think on this one. If I just do 31 speed and then 20 plus special attack, I end up with a minimum 20k price check on Wailmer. This one is male, this one is female. What's the next cheapest male? 40k being this one. That's like this one's probably underpriced would be my guess, and then these are probably fairish. I'm just gonna list this for 20k. Pretty like this could honestly be too cheap for it, but we'll see. I think 20k is pretty fair. Let's go ahead and add 20k over on the price check. We're gonna have to take a lot of stuff off, don't remember that. Sell that for 20k. Now on to the big four. Already 31 HP male Wailmer. This is tough because there's one here for 10k that's been up for 5 hours, but then there's a couple more for 20k, but those have been listed for like 2 days or so. But that's a big price difference. Like I don't want to miss out on that profit. So honestly, part of me wants to just buy this Wailmer and then relist these for like 20k or 19.99. I don't know if that's best or just going for 15k or something. That seems, I feel like it's worth it. You know what? I'm not gonna count this like little flip in my price chart, but I think it's worth to go ahead and buy this, sort of monopolize the market. To a very small extent. It's not really the right way to use that term, but I'm just gonna list these both for 20k. So I'm gonna add 20k to the price check and make sure I can sort of mold that part of the market to my needs. That's definitely something that's super important to do at times. Sometimes it's worth to just go ahead and buy one and relist it to have yours sell for a higher price. So we're at a whopping 280k so far, only 3 left. I'm taking a fair bit of time on these. Here, I have another male, same exact sort of situation. Now I can just go ahead and sell that for 20k. So let's add another 20k over on the price check. These will definitely take a while to sell, and it's possible that I release these at a poor time where everybody, because I made a video yesterday talking about this, where everybody's going to flood in after and hurt my profits. But you know what? That's okay. That's my fault if I do that. Let's go ahead and check 31 male Wailmer. Now this is going to be maybe one of the best price checks of the video. So we ended up with 2 1x31 special attack male Wailmers, and here we have another similar situation. We have some 1x31s for 40k or whatever. Those will sell. I believe mine sold actually. However, we have this one sitting here. It's only been up for 47 minutes. 2x31 male with these other sets. I'm gonna buy this just to open up the market for my Wailmers to sort of slip in there and be sold for some really nice profits. So I'm gonna list both of these bad boys for 3998 at the very end. And that'll be some big money. So 40k over on the calculator, or 80k, excuse me, for both of those. Wow. That is, look at that number. Are you kidding me? 380k? 380k revenue brought in. Now, I'm going to have to subtract minimum 50k for listing fees, probably closer to like 60 to 65k. Let's go ahead and subtract. Let's subtract around 65k. I think that's fair for listing fees, and if I have to relist stuff for cheaper, let's go ahead and do that. So minus 65k. We'll even subtract the extra 400 Pokeyen, who cares? That's going to leave us with minimum, guys, minimum like 300k plus profit, probably closer to the 315 or whatever, but yeah, minimum here, we're making 300k profit for 1 hour of Wailmer. Slightly above average luck, but nothing crazy. Wow, that is insane. The fact that a 1x31 special attack Wailmer goes for 40k right now, if it's male, of course, is phenomenal. Like, that's just insane. Wow, I don't know. It's really good money. Go catch Wailmers. Always check up on them. One of the most common questions / complaints I get whenever I release a loot from 1 hour video is that people say, oh, I've been doing this money making method, oh, you've ruined it, or whatever. And I understand where they're coming from. I actually made a video responding to this, and I think it's important to always consider this, that what happens is when I release a video, it draws attention to the money making method. People do it. The profits do dip for about 2 weeks, maybe 4 weeks at the most. And then what happens is, the profit on that method drops, and then everybody stops doing it. They move on to something else. And then what happens is 3 months down the road, the method becomes really profitable again. So one of my biggest tips is to not always follow my newest released money making guide, but actually try to look out for and follow like one that's like 3 months old. That's my biggest little tip. So if you're watching this, maybe go check out on my money making playlist on PokeMMO, go check out, hey, like 3 months ago, what was like 300K? How much, what was the best money making method like 3 months ago? And that might be really good to do right now. So check those out. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel for daily PokeMMO content. I stream Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. EST here on YouTube and on Twitch. My Discord is linked down below for money making tips and PokeMMO videos, guides, resources, etc., etc. And if you want to go above and beyond and support the channel and allow me to make this kind of content every single day, becoming a YouTube member for $5 a month, dropping a Twitch Prime or a Twitch sub over on my Twitch, or hitting up my PayPal or Venmo, links down below, are fantastic ways to go above and beyond and support, but never needed, but super appreciated. Have a great day. I will see you guys later, and go make some dank Pokeyen with the Wailmers. Yo, if you're watching this, that means you watched the entire video. So first things first, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. And if your name is on this list, that means you go above and beyond and support the channel and allow me to do what I do every single day. Thank you so much, and have a great day.